gentlemen, welcome to Ariel Helwani's MMA Show!
Back in your life on this Monday, June 8th, 2020. Hello again, everyone. Welcome back to a brand new edition of DC and Helwani right here on all the ESPN platforms. The fastest growing show at ESPN. And my friends, we have a lot to talk about. DC's back in his home, I think. Is that accurate, DC? You're back home?
Yes. And in my kid's classroom once again. Remember before, you're all excited about I was in the office. It was quiet. I'm back. School's out. The kids don't need it anymore. So now I'm back in this office. It's over. School's done for the year. I mean, it's done.
Oh, not here. All right. Well, congratulations to your kids. Holy smokes. First of all, I'm glad that you survived Las Vegas. Glad that you're back home. The beard is looking nice.
Thank you. I appreciate it.
I'm a little sad though on this Monday afternoon.
Why?
I mean, look, let's address the elephant in the room. We're late. We're late. Here we are. I thought we had a show. I thought we're the fastest growing show. I thought you were all in. And
I'm all in.
Call from you. And you thought that you could squeeze things in beforehand. And that to me shows a lack of commitment. You've basically said to me, there are things in my life that are more important than this show. True or false?
Yes. There's one thing. Yes. There's a couple things more important in this show.
Like what?
One is me becoming the heavyweight champion of the world again. And I mean, I think that's very fair.
That hurts.
And so it's crazy because you're freaking out. It's like you tried to make me feel bad. It's sad when your friends go to you and say, you remember when your parents would say, I'm not mad at you, I'm just disappointed? Dude tried to pull that on me.
I said that.
It's so crazy that you would try to do that on me. I turned around. I was driving to San Jose to get my truck, return the rental car, and because Ariel made me feel bad, I turned around and I got here straight up 9 o'clock.
No way. Jake, I don't believe you.
Ask Jake, ask Troy if I didn't log in at 10 o'clock or 9 o'clock exactly.
Wait a second. You didn't go to the airport? I don't believe you for a second. Now I feel guilty.
Okay, wait. Maybe I did go to the airport, and when I got there, I realized I left my keys at my house, so I had to turn around.
So all this was for naught?
For nothing, bro. I drove all the way over there and realized the keys were still in my briefcase, so I had to turn around and drive back. I don't know the door code to get back into my truck because I have an extra key in there.
Oh my gosh. So you were late. You made me wait. I'm freaking out. Yes, I pulled the disappointed card on you.
It's sad.
It always hurt. It hurt. It really hurt bad when my mom would say that. I'm not mad. I'm not going to slap you in the face or take my sandal and slap you in the mind. Use a threading needle to pick my. She used to do that. My mom used to.
Oh, she did.
It was called.
Your mom.
It was called peek peek. In my hand.
Bro, what?
That's how they did it in Lebanon back in the day. She's going to be so mad at me for saying this. She's going to be so mad, but she would take my hand and say, "I'm for peek peek." And I would get the needle, the threading needle on my fist right here, like the wrist. What is this part called? The hand? I don't know what it's called.
Stop.
Horrible.
Stop.
Horrible.
You're making your mom. If Child Protective Services could go back in time and get your mother, they would get her bad. You can't poke your kid in the hand with a freaking needle.
Be honest. Back in the day, you got the hand sometimes. You got the belt.
The hand. Are you talking about the hand?
Yeah.
No. I got whatever was available, bro. I got beat with a belt, switches. You know what a switch is? When they tell you, go to the yard and get a switch. It's not only that you're going to get whipped. It's the fact that mentally you have to go get the object that you're going to get beat with. A switch is a piece of a twig off of the tree that they get, and it swings very fast. And because it's so skinny, it just tears you apart, man. I would always get the switch. I got the switch. I once got an extension cord because it was the only thing that was available. Yeah,
you're making a big deal out of a peek peek.
Well, but I never got stabbed. I mean, your mom stabbed you.
That's like, is the switch like the Steve Blackman kendo stick from back in the day?
No, it's way skinnier, bro. It's like super skinny. It's like you go into the yard and you take a switch off of the tree and then they just beat you with the switch. So it's like double, right? Because you're crying the whole way over there to get the switch because you know it's about to happen. And then on the way back, you're crying because you know it's going to happen. And then the action of you getting beat with the switch happens. And so it's like you get 3 whippings in one, you know? So yeah, the switch is a bad thing. But then it's like I used to do this move where like she would grab me by the arm and whip me with the switch. But I had this flexibility in my shoulder that I don't possess anymore because I would try to fall so that I wouldn't take the whipping. And then I'd be like twisting. My mom would be like holding me by the arm. I'm like spinning around. She's still hitting me with the switch. Hey, she was really
Ruthless.
good at whipping because she could hold me in place with one hand and then whip me with the switch with the other hand. And I guarantee you, every whipping I got, I deserved because I did some bad stuff as a kid. My sister's childhood was, boy, it was tough for Felicia. She was like, man, I used to give her a hard time. I pushed her off the bunk bed one time. Top bunk, 4-year-old little girl. For no reason, I just threw her off the top. And she fell onto the couch that was right next to it, which was, I don't understand why
she had a padded landing. It's like
no, she hit she hit the side of the couch, the armrest. So she was really hurt. Yeah, she was mad. I got beat bad for that one.
Wait, your sister's name is Felicia?
Yeah, her name's Felicia.
You didn't mention that on the broadcast on Saturday. I feel like that would have been a natural.
Oh my goodness, how did I miss that?
Come on. Did you ever say bye, Felicia, to her?
No, but I did say hi, Felicia. I said hi, Felicia on Saturday. I said hi, Felicia. Welcome to the main event scene. But she hated when the bye, Felicia thing started. Like it was like the bane of her existence because everybody said it. She hates when I go bye, Felicia.
Yeah, like imagine being called Alexa in this day and age. I mean, your life is over, right? I mean, you live in a house, there's an Alexa, and everyone's shouting your name. It's all very confusing. Okay, so we got out of the way. All right, you screwed up in the morning with the car. And number two, I wanted to ask you, you didn't comment on this week's promo pick. Did you like it? Robert Pearson made us another custom pick. Did you enjoy that one? You kind of just stiff-armed that one.
I didn't see it. I mean, so I was in Vegas for 12 days, bro. I came home. Finally got to see my children, see my wife. I hadn't seen them in all this time, so I disconnected. I went on Instagram.
I seen you post things.
Just this morning for the first time. I was disconnected. Last night, right before bed, I saw Stipe put something up, so I commented, and then I went to bed. But I didn't really look at the promo pic. Did Robert do a good one this time?
He did a tremendous one. He did a tremendous. You have your phone there?
I do have my phone.
Go look at my Instagram while I set this up. Robert Pearson, who's been making us these picks each and every week.
He's great.
I think has done maybe the best one yet. He has exceeded expectations once again, and there's so much to talk about on today's show. What is it?
It's me loving Bisping and Rogan because you know I do. But here, hey, I gotta be honest with you, man.
Yeah.
If I'm Robert Pearson, I'm kind of like wondering when am I getting paid? Because Ariel, at this point, you're kind of just taking advantage of the poor guy. Ariel's like calling Aaron Roberts for the promo picks, but not paying him.
He does it out of the kindness of his heart.
This is classic Ariel.
Why is this classic Ariel?
Classic you. You want some stuff, you don't want to pay for it. It's like pay the man for his work, Ariel. Pay him for his work.
We've never had that conversation. I'd be more than happy to. I mean, you're the one who's about to get the multi-million-dollar payday. So I don't know why it's on me, why it rests on my shoulders. But we'll talk about that.
You're the guy with all that ESPN money.
That's right.
Talk to Robert, man. Pay the man.
Okay, fine. Robert, we'll have a chat. Now, the summer of DC continues. UFC 250 this past Saturday. We have to talk about that. Everyone's going crazy. There's so much news. Conor McGregor has retired. Jorge Masvidal is battling the UFC. We've got John Jones continuing his thing. Henry Cejudo talking again. There's so much going on. Do we start with what happened on Saturday? Do we start with all the drama? Do we start with you and Stipe? I usually don't do this, but there's like a million different directions where we start. Where do you want to start?
I think we talk about Saturday, right? We got to start.
We put Saturday to bed?
We put Saturday to bed, then we go forward because all this other news is it's things to come. Let's talk about what we saw on Saturday night. Jesus, what is going on? Let's talk about the performance that Amanda Nunes had over Felicia Spencer. I mean, flawless. I knew it was flawless, bro. I thought she was, obviously we know who Amanda is, but she wiped her out. I mean, it was crazy because as I went through the week, so many people were starting to buy into the Felicia Spencer hype, and it wasn't really a competition. It was like a sparring session. Amanda was that far out ahead of Felicia last weekend.
The best thing that Felicia did in that fight was that she absorbed an incredible amount of damage. there wasn't a single moment where we thought that Amanda was in trouble. There wasn't a single moment where it seemed like, okay, Felicia's got something going on here, landed a big punch, nothing. In fact, in the first 90 seconds, I thought she was going to get knocked out. Like, I can't imagine. Her chin is incredible. Felicia's chin is incredible. The fact that she kept on coming was amazing. But I think we were reminded once again that the gap at 145 and 135 is just massive between Amanda. I thought that was one of her best performances. There's not a single thing that I look at that fight and say, yeah, she could have done this a little better. Maybe finish her, right? But it's just, Felicia's just so tough. I think you can make a case for at least 2 10-8 rounds in that fight, right?
I mean, well, the fight was it wasn't competitive in the least bit. You know, Felicia Spencer showed her durability, but we knew she had that, right? Because she took all those strikes from Cyborg, but she got washed out. It was not competitive. It once again showed that there's one person in the world that can fight Amanda Nunes, and that's the champion at 125. Right now, unless someone completely separates themselves in both of these divisions, there's never going to be a time where she goes into a fight and you wonder if she's going to lose the way that she's been fighting. Now, here's the deal. We talked about this a lot on the broadcast. Somebody bet $1 million to make 165. Has there ever been $1 million bet that seems so safe in hindsight? Right.
By the way, there's never been $1 million bet in MMA. That was the biggest bet in the history of MMA betting.
But it seems so safe, right? Like after watching that fight, I know we made the comment in the beginning of the show, wow, dude bet $1 million. But I don't think there's ever been a more secure $165,000 return on anything as it was in the fight between Amanda and Felicia.
Well, I know what people will probably say when they're watching this. Ariel picked Felicia, and I did.
No, I'm trying not to rub it in your face. Like, know that I wanted to lead with that. That
was a homer pick.
But like, I'm being very like respectful to Felicia because I don't want it to seem like I'm messing with her as I try to throw it in your face. Boy, you actually picked Felicia Spencer, and it's like
no regrets. That's right. I backed my
regret it. No, you should actually regret it because that was a bad pick. That was a bad pick.
I didn't think Amanda Nunes looked great in December against Jermaine. I thought perhaps,
did she not? I mean, she fought a world level kickboxer and took her down the entire time. And honestly, man, watching the fight, Felicia, it doesn't look like. I mean, it just didn't look like she had anything for the champ.
No.
And it was bad. It was really, really bad.
Hindsight is 2020. I admit that, but I have no regrets about the pick. I backed my fellow Montrealer, and obviously, she's got 10 fights. I mean, Nunes's current winning streak is longer than the amount of pro fights that Felicia Spencer has. Period. So it's not normal.
You got to be very careful. You got to be very careful here not to start making excuses.
No, I'm not making
right now, you get very close.
Game.
You get very close to that line of making excuses.
No,
well, Amanda has a longer winning streak than Felicia has fights. Like, you're really starting to try to find the silver lining in something where there really isn't a silver lining.
Okay, well, let me ask you this. People brought this up to me. They were mad. You remember when we had the pound for pound discussion? I think it was 2 weeks ago or maybe a week ago. They said you guys didn't mention Amanda Nunes, and that was wrong. Is that wrong? Do you feel like female pound for pound should be separate from male pound for pound?
Yes,
pound for pound.
I do. I think it should stay separate. I think Amanda is right where she needs to be in terms of pound for pound in the female discussion. Overall, pound for pound, I think she's one of the best pound for pound fighters, regardless of gender. I just don't know like where she would fit into that discussion. That's it. Like, I think she is one of the better ones, but when you start to gauge those types of wins, how do you dictate and compare strength to schedule? Because like you said, Felicia has 10 fights. When was the last time someone defending a championship on the other side had to fight and defend the belt against anyone with 10 fights? Do you understand? So it's hard to really compare strength to schedule. And I think that's where the issue comes up in that.
Yeah, I'm okay with the statement that she's one of the 10 best fighters in the world right now, regardless of gender. I've always kept them separate because also, when I'm doing, someone asked me like, who are your top 5 best featherweights on the planet, I don't think to add female featherweights, right?
No.
Okay, which, are we talking male or female? 125. I
Yeah,
don't
it's
go.
always separate. It always comes out like separate because that's right.
Yeah.
One thing I saw on Saturday that I didn't agree with, I hadn't saw the female pound for pound rankings, and I love Zhang Wei Li, but there's no way she should be above Valentina Shevchenko in
She
the
is.
female pound. She's number 2. She should never
Listen,
be number 2 over
listen,
Valentina
those
in the female
rankings
pound.
are, with
Bro,
all due respect, they're
I
a
get it,
joke.
but there's no way it's Amanda, Valentina, and
Yeah.
then Zhang Wei Li and everybody else. But it's
and
Amanda and Valentina and then everybody else because they've completely separated themselves from anybody else in female fighting to this point.
I agree. And if we're doing true rankings and we're including everyone, it's Amanda, Valentina, and Chris Cyborg.
Yes, Amanda, Valentina. If we're doing full on female pound for pound, Amanda, Valentina, Cyborg, Zhang Wei Li.
Right.
That's fair. And I think if you're doing it overall, but if it's just UFC, then yes. But Zhang Wei Li should not be ahead of Valentina Shevchenko.
So usually when someone says that they want a break, it's not a good thing. But I think in this particular case, it is a good thing because she's expecting her first child. Her partner, Nina Ansaroff, is pregnant, expecting their first child in September. And I actually think that would be good for 145 especially, and 135 to allow contenders
and
to kind of emerge.
Yeah.
You up, because at 145 there's nothing going on. I think Megan Anderson is great. I don't think it would be smart for Megan Anderson to fight Amanda Nunes right now. I think that would not be a good fight for Megan Anderson. I think she has a little more work to do. 135, if she had to come back her next fight at 135, perhaps January or December or something like that. The fight I want to see is Irene Aldana because I think she's looked really good as of late. I think she's won 5 of her last 6. Her last fight was a knockout against Caitlin Vieira, but still, I think there's not a lot of options there. So maybe the best thing is let the contenders emerge.
But as you said with Megan, she's a tough fighter, big. She's very big, would present some stylistic issues, I think, for Amanda. But will she? And for as good as Irina has looked, she still may need a little bit more time to truly become a competitor and a real challenge to Amanda Nunes. There hasn't been a time in Amanda Nunes' fights recently where you think the other person is going to win the fight. I mean, last person was Shevchenko, and how many fights ago was that? It's like you just don't know, and you just don't see anybody right now challenging her, especially considering she now has addressed all the issues that she may have had before in terms of the cardio. Nothing bothers Amanda anymore. She showed that she could wrestle for 25 minutes with Durandamy. And she showed that she could stand and strike for 25 minutes on Saturday, no problem. She didn't even seem fatigued fighting against
Felicia Spencer.
Right. She just kind of did her thing. So, yeah, great for her to take the break, spend some time with Nina. She has built a great life down in Florida. They've done that together. They're going to have their first kid. It's a big time in Amanda Nunes' life. And after a performance like that and 2 victories, in a short period of time, she deserves a break.
Yeah, I don't want to see the Valentina trilogy fight yet. Maybe in a year, let her do her thing at 125. Let her, continue to dominate there, and then maybe in a year you could talk about that. So that's the main event discussion. Mm-hmm. Now let's talk about perhaps the second biggest performance on the card, and I think it was Aljamain Sterling's win over Corey Sandhagen. I think right now, Monday afternoon, in my opinion, and we all know that's most important, Aljamain Sterling is the bantamweight champion of the UFC. Aljamain Sterling is the king without a crown. Aljamain Sterling is the uncrowned champion. He should be wearing 14 pounds, 12 pounds, I don't know how big it is, of gold right now.
This is you continuing down what you said, because we have to give background information as to what you're doing. Last week, you said that you thought that should be the bantamweight championship fight of the world. So now you're saying Aljamain won the belt, when in reality, he did. He put on a fantastic performance. He did. And he smashed Corey Sandhagen. But when you look at the bantamweight division right now, are you confident that Aljamain does the same thing to Jose Aldo and Piotr Jan?
Well, it's not about confidence. It's about
that's the thing, though. It's like you're calling him the champion. But do you feel confident that he runs through Corey Sandhagen in the way that he does? Because this Corey Sandhagen performance can age well down the line if Corey continues down the path that he has, or it could look like, wow, the guy was very impressive early, got to the very highest level and got beat. You just don't know. And I mean, I was so impressed with Aljo. I thought Aljo looked phenomenal. And if that was a title fight last weekend, I would not be mad, because I do feel like between those 4 guys, any of them wearing the crown right now would feel very legit, even though Henry walked away.
Okay, which fight interests you more right now? Petr Yan versus Aljo or Petr Yan versus Aldo?
You know, I was very impressed with Jose Aldo in the first fight at 135 because I fully thought he beat Marlon Moraes. And I still think that Marlon Moraes is the most dangerous guy in the division.
What?
I mean, you saw what
We're all
Marlon
over the
Moraes,
place here.
you saw
this guy beat him.
You saw what Marlon Moraes did to Aljo when they fought, right? So, like, it's like, I believe that he's so dangerous to anyone in this division. And I thought Aldo beat him. And Petr Yan has been so impressive in his UFC tenure. So I agree with the title fight. But would I be excited about an Aljamain versus Yan fight? Absolutely. Especially with the way those guys kind of jaw at each other. But I believe that the fight will happen. Let's let it shake out and see how it goes. I mean, we saw a great performance last Saturday.
Yes.
Let's see what happens in the title fight. And then once those guys come together, it's just going to be bigger. It was like a 4-man tournament, Ariel. You love tournaments. You always talk about tournaments. It was a 4-man tournament. And Aljo has now become the number 1 contender. He's the number 1 contender. He's the number 1 seed in the
he's
NCAA
on deck
tournament.
because technically the number 1 contenders are Yan and Aldo.
No, he's the number 1 contender now to the championship fight that's about to happen.
When you did the first show at the Apex, you texted me early on and you're like, how do you like the interviews? And I was like, yeah, something seems off. I've totally changed my perspective on the interview. The interviews remind me of like 1987 WWF, where they're standing in front of the backdrop and they get to do the promos where they're all, like when they would go to the back with Mean Gene Okerlund. And there would be like SummerSlam in the back and they're all sweaty. And the Aljo one might be the best one so far because of the pause comment. Right?
Dude, that was the best. I don't see how people miss that. He's like, Petr Yan, I'm coming for that ass. Pause. Nobody heard it? How could they have not heard that?
Well, he said something different the first time, and then he corrected it and still gave himself the pause. It was great.
When he was on Twitter, I put pause. Like when somebody put it, and everybody was like thought that I said it. No, I was just saying what Aljo had said. It was the dude, and plus he's got everything. Aljamain Sterling, I feel like he should be a massive star. He's kind of got it all, right? He's good looking. He's good in fighting. He wears the rope necklace. He's got it all. He's got a great personality. I think that Aljamain Star is just starting to truly shine, and that performance is going to put him on the next level. And I'm excited to see what this turns into, because when I think of like my nephew, right? My nephew Jamel in Oklahoma, he's around that age. They have the same type of haircut. Like they look at Aljo, especially people in the urban community, and go, man, this is a dude I can get behind. And I know for a long time they talk about the UFC kind of really starting to connect with more people in the Black community and in the urban areas. I think Aljamain Sterling is one of those guys that can really help to bridge the gap, as I started to and Jones has started to. I think you're going to see guys like Aljo truly make a mark in that fan base.
The knock on him early on in his career was that he was better in the gym than he was in the cage. He wasn't going into that next gear in the fights. He was afraid to get hit. He was afraid to really put himself out there. That guy seems to be gone. Ever since he got knocked out by Marlon Moraes, he's a totally different guy, and he's looking phenomenal. Now, speaking of the bantamweight division.
Wait. You know he told us that, Ariel? He actually told us that.
Yeah, what do you think? You think I just speak? Like, you think I'm just talking out of my butt here?
No, he said that after the knockout, he said he does a lot of small glove sparring now because he realized, this isn't so bad. If this is the worst that can happen, it ain't so bad. That
changed him.
That's crazy, right? Because now, dude's probably one of the best in the world.
What about
maybe the best bantamweight in the world?
What about that Cody Garbrandt hair?
He looks so good. He looks so good. Cody Garbrandt, let me tell you something. Cody Garbrandt before with the haircut and the clean, all the tattoos.
Yeah.
His looks was why people were drawn into watching him fight. Part of it. That was part of it. Well, Dude's hair now, it flows, man. When he went down and he threw the right hook, boom, the right
Everything.
hook landed, but then the hair just went. It just like fluttered, man. Cody Garbrandt, that new haircut, man, he's got something with that.
I don't know if they still have like those teeny bop magazines. Like what were they called?
It was like Teen Beat or something like that.
Yeah.
Teen Beat.
Like you'd be perfect. Not to suggest that he
Well,
looks
not
like
with
a
the
teenager.
tattoos. Not with the tattoos. Like the
In this
tattoos
day and
don't fit.
age, people like it's like it's a lot more common.
Okay.
The neck tat, people like it. You compared him to, I think it was you who compared him to Teen Wolf.
Teen Wolf. Yeah, he did.
Nailed
Remember
it.
Teen Wolf?
Yeah.
It's like Teen Wolf had the beard and the long flowing hair. The dude showed a really improved version of himself in terms of his patience, staying the course, doing exactly what he'd been training. And honestly, man, that's Mark Henry. I've always admired Mark Henry from the side.
Yeah.
But now after working with him, dude's a genius, man.
So I was going to bring that up. Someone asked me, what was the difference between this Cody? He was on the 3-fight losing streak. And I said, the difference is Mark Henry. Mark Henry is one of the best striking coaches, and you had a chance to work with him this past week. Does this mean, is Mark Henry going to be, I saw the pictures, is he going to be in your corner?
No, well, so I talked to Coach Henry, and I told him that I want to work more as I get ready for my fight. And he offered up me going out to Jersey. He said he'd come out to visit me in California.
Wow.
It worked out. So, yeah, man, I want to continue the relationship a little bit. I've only used my coaches, but to have another set of eyes is very, very good for me. And that's not taking anything away from my coaches. I'll never leave Rosendo Sanchez, Javier Mendez, Leandro, Bob, and Rudy. But to have another set of eyes is great. And it's also to have a guy like Mark who's so committed to preparation and detail. I mean, I did some things last week with Coach Henry. And again, we had never really dealt with anyone punching me in the body like Miocic did. But after Mark watched the fight, first off, there's some tells. There's some massive tells as to what Stipe's doing when he throws that punch. And also, the things that we worked on in preparation for that I'm going to continue to work on with my coaches now, I believe that it's going to really benefit me early in the fight against Miocic. And if I can exploit him the way that I have been in my training now, I may get another knockout.
Oh, and we shall talk about what's been transpiring between you and Stipe later on in today's program. But Mark Henry, one of my favorite people in the sport, just a genuinely great soul, right? Like just a.
And you saw on his arm, he wrote Black Lives Matter on his arm. He's just like the dude is just like so in tune with everything because he pays attention to everything. Ariel, when he walked into the training session for the first time, he had pieces of paper of all the strikes from the fight, but also not only the strikes and where the strikes happen, but also the counters to those strikes and a plan as to which you could try to approach the improvements in the rematch. It was very impressive. It was, and you could see how much he implemented into Cody's game, and Cody looked phenomenal. Big performance. He needed that too.
Yeah, he looked great. Good to have him back. Another good guy in the game, and it was tough to see him on that losing streak. Sugar Sean O'Malley looked phenomenal as well. The hair is just amazing. The knockout. Anyone who
like that? You like that Sean O'Malley hair?
Ooh,
that's 6'9" Tekashi. I mean, he got the 6'9" Tekashi haircut, and this dude has rainbow all up in his hair. He said he's been wanting to do it, didn't do it before, but his striking, his power, his confidence. Sean O'Malley has star written all over him. Now, I love that he's very confident. I hope that he approaches all the renegotiations and things in the right way that allows for him to continue to grow himself within this organization. Because Sean O'Malley has it. And with it, his fighting ability and the power of that organization behind him, he can go to levels that he could never have imagined.
Yeah, I hope that they push him the right way and continue to push him the way he's being pushed slowly but surely. I saw some people talking about him versus Cody next. I don't like that.
Way too much.
No, do him versus like a Marlon Vera. They've got some history. I think that makes a lot more sense. The Marlons, the Song Yadongs of the 135-pound division make a lot more sense to me, but he is a star. And if they book him the right way, they've got something special on their hands with Sean O'Malley. you were phenomenal. All jokes aside, you were phenomenal with the telestrator. You're having a blast. You, Rogan, and Anik are great. I was very jealous of you that you got a glowing tweet from Gina Carano. I mean, you got a tweet from Gina Carano.
I did.
You didn't see that?
No, I didn't.
She was giving you praise. Gina, the summer of DC, I'm telling you, is a real thing. And now you've got the GOAT, Gina Carano, giving you praise on Twitter. You didn't see that?
No, I didn't see it.
Man, should I pull this up?
Just tell me what it says, please.
She said, oh, here's Corporate Jake chiming in. Because, well, she was responding to. And then she said accurate, and then she wanted whatever you're having, DC. So she is basically saying she's enjoying your work on the broadcast, and I was jealous.
I'm trying. Look, man, I'm telling you, when I'm working, I have the best job in the world, right? I get to talk to you on Mondays and then go on the weekend and watch and call fights. It is legitimately the best job in the world. I'm just like a kid in the candy store.
Which job do you like better, though?
Hey, man, I love you. You're a great guy.
That's a good, that's a good
but
answer.
I love watching the fights, dog. I love watching the fights. It's like I love watching the fights. I'm a fan. I'm still a fan of this thing. And for me to be employed by to call them, I can see why all those guys always had so much fun. Boss, Morrow, Chavello, Rogan, Goldberg. I always thought like, wow, these guys are enjoying themselves. And now that I do it, I'm like, wow, they are. And we have a great time. And I believe now that I think Anik's the best the UFC's ever had. And I believe Joe Rogan is one of the easiest guys to work with. My boy Mikey Bisping, DJ Mikey B, he's the man. Like, I've been able to work with some great guys. I love working with
and I still haven't made the broadcast, but I did hear the People's Main Event.
I did. I dropped. That was for you, baby.
My brother.
That was for you, baby.
My brother.
The People's Main Event.
I'll take that over a tweet any day. I'll take that over a tweet any day.
I got you, dog. The People's Main Event.
I popped big time when I heard that. I popped massive. All right. Okay, so that's 250. We could talk more about the other big winners, but we have to transition over to some other big news. But before we do that, we're about to talk some finances. So let's pay some bills as I put my old man glasses on here because I can't read this anymore. All right, here we go. Let's tell you about our good friends over at Ancestry DNA. You may be familiar with major events and battles of World War II. Who isn't? But there are so many more stories to uncover. The skill and bravery of the Tuskegee Airmen. You know the Tuskegee Airmen, right, DC? An all-African-American squad of fighter pilots, the incredible women who trained to become pilots and mechanics, the Japanese-American battalion that became one of America's most decorated units, despite discrimination against Japanese Americans at the time. In honor of the 75th anniversary of the end of World War II, Ancestry has just released a U.S. draft card collection from World War II with over 36 million draft cards completed by fighting-age men in the United States across the country during that time, whether they ended up serving or not. There's a great chance that you could find your relatives in this collection, and it can help you learn more about what their lives were like and discover World War II from the diverse perspectives of those who were there. Uncover your ancestors' personal details in our World War II U.S. draft collection, which shows details like home address, physical description, and more. Discover your untold stories right now. Head to our URL at ancestry.com/MMA to start discovering your story today. Again, that's ancestry.com/MMA. So Saturday night, UFC 250 ends. I'm about to go to bed. I'm like, oh, this is actually pretty good. It's like 1:30 a.m. Eastern time. About to go to bed. And then Conor McGregor tweets that he has decided to retire. Yada, yada, yada. I'm up for another 4 hours after talking to him, and I went to bed at 5 o'clock. But it was all worth it. It was great, and I appreciate him talking to me. I'm assuming you've seen the tweet. You may have seen some of the quotes. I know you were disconnected from the world, but did you see the quotes or no?
No, I didn't see the quotes.
Okay, thanks, DC. I appreciate you supporting my work.
I just wish Conor would just pick better timing, because it's like these fighters are giving themselves and they're all to everything. And every time he does something like that, he completely like takes the story, right? So we went from, before Amanda got to the back to be celebrated, it had shifted to Conor McGregor. And it's cool, man. Like, okay, you're the biggest star in the UFC. Everybody knows it. But could Amanda have had her moment, a little bit? That's the only thing that I don't like about the time. And I get it. I get that I get that he's upset and disappointed and wants to fight. Like, we all want to see you fight.
Right.
Man, let Amanda have her moment. Like she just put out this fantastic performance, and now all anybody wants to talk about is what Connor's doing.
So I don't disagree with your point at all. And in fact, you can make a case that if you drop the tweet, say Monday afternoon, it's a lot more effective
What's the
than
difference?
Saturday
But there
night.
is no difference. There
Right.
is no difference. Like you could
So-
say that at any time.
So here's what I think happened. And I spoke to him afterwards, and what he said to me was, I'm frustrated. Basically, I've had enough. I'm frustrated. I want to fight. Now, there's a lot going on in the sport, right? There's a lot going on with the top guys. There's Henry Cejudo walking away. There's John Jones openly feuding with the UFC. There's Jorge Masvidal openly feuding with the UFC. And now there's Conor McGregor. But here's the thing. A lot of people want to group all these four stories together. And while there may be common denominators, the four stories are actually very different. Their causes and their complaints are actually very different. So let me break it down like this for the people, right? Henry Cejudo walked away after his win over Dominic Cruz, for the most part, because he feels like he's not getting enough money, right? He also is saying like family, things like that, but he just wants to get more money to fight right now, right? He just wants more money to defend his 135 title. Okay, let's put that in a vacuum.
All right, wait, just a real quick question. Like you said all that, and my internet must be gone or something for a while, because I heard the last thing I heard you say was Jorge Masvidal's upset too, and then you stopped. I don't know what's wrong with your internet over there. It's bad.
Oh, is it bad, Corporate Jake?
So it was my internet? Was it mine? Did you realize that I was gone for a while?
No, you were fine. We saw you. It's fine. I was talking, so we didn't need you in this moment. All right, now let me get back to my story. I'm breaking down all the scenarios. So Cejudo wants more money to fight right now, right? John Jones is saying, I have no problem with what I made in my last fight at 205. I want to be incentivized. I want more money to go up to heavyweight to fight Ngannou. Jorge Masvidal is saying, you paid me X amount to fight Nathan Diaz at Madison Square Garden for the BMF title. Now you're saying you want to pay me less money to fight against Kamaru Usman for the real belt. Conor isn't even talking about money. Conor's saying, I just want to fight. You guys need to get me a fight. Like, I'm frustrated. I had a horrible 2019. Here I am, healthy, on the straight and narrow. I'm out of trouble. Can you get me my 3 fights the season that I talked about? So can you say that maybe money is a factor in all of these things? Yes, but they all have different gripes with the UFC. It's not like they're all talking about the same thing. Does that make sense to you?
Yeah, it does. It does.
And so Conor's main thing is, hey, guys, I told you I wanted to fight 3 times. Can you get me a fight? And perhaps it's an indictment on the matchmaking. Perhaps you could say like, hey, they should have had someone ready. Like, okay, Gaethje, Khabib are fighting in September. I don't think it makes any sense to have Conor wait for the winner of that fight, because now we're talking December, January. You have a healthy Conor McGregor. I know there are no fans in attendance. There's no gate.
I think part of that is, I think that's part of the biggest reason, though, honestly. And if Conor wants to fight, I say get him a fight. Give him somebody. I mean, there's somebody anybody will fight Conor McGregor. But when you look at the business, you got to admit, that's a massive loss not having fans to a Conor McGregor fight. Whereas even when I fight John Jones, the ringside tickets are $1,100, $1,200. Conor McGregor fights Donald Cerrone, the ringside seats are $2,500.
But is it worth icing him?
No, it's not worth icing him. Find him a fight. But I understand where the hesitation comes, because what if Conor goes into a fight and gets, say he has another performance like he had against Cowboy? Great. But what if he gets hurt in a fight and now he fought in July, can't fight again, and he didn't fight in front of fans? You know what I'm saying? Because I don't believe the UFC is going to ever go back to allowing fans until you can sell out arenas again. So it's like, I understand the hesitation, but if he's so upset that he's going to walk away, I say get him a fight. There's get him Diaz. I mean, let him fight Anderson Silva. Just get him a fight.
Well, here's what I told his team. I wish that he didn't use the R word, right? Because when people see the
too
tweet,
many times,
people are like, oh, they roll their eyes, and they don't actually then listen to what he says. Now, the first 2 times he did it, he didn't do an interview that day. Luckily enough, he spoke to me and he explained his feelings, and I understood where he was coming from. Initially, here's what I thought. Initially, I thought he was sitting at home. He was watching the fight with Amanda Nunes and Felicia Spencer. He heard the broadcast talking about how she's now the first double champion to defend the titles, at the same time and all that stuff. And he took that as a slight. So he's like, you know what? Screw you guys. I'm out. That was my initial reaction when I saw the tweet, and maybe that contributed a little bit. But then when I spoke to him, I realized the guy's just frustrated. He's watching other people fight in empty arenas. Like, hey, can you just get me a fight? And so I understand the frustration. Now the big question is, can they figure out a way to make this worthwhile for them financially when you're not going to have anyone in attendance? I personally feel like he will, like, if you get him on the July 11th card, there's still not going to be any sports. You're going to make a killing with that pay-per-view.
Yeah, you're gonna
right?
make a ton of pay-per-view, but yes, and you should get Conor on the July 11th card. I agree with you in that sense. Get him in there, get him fighting, because even if it's Jan versus Aldo for the title, Conor McGregor goes at the top of the card over that. You know what I'm saying? Like, and he makes it a massive card. Anytime he's involved, it becomes a massive card. But you have to pay Conor McGregor. You understand? Like, Conor's not going to take any less money, and he's going to sell a ton of pay-per-views. But again, one direct source of income, one big massive amount of the money that he makes, or that he makes for the company, comes from that gate. That's all eliminated. But Conor's still going to want to be paid in the exact same way. Do you understand? And
Sure.
as he should.
Well,
But
he never
again,
made a cut of the gate, but I'm sure
no,
they
but
took
still,
into
like, it's
account. They know
you
that
take
it's
into
coming.
account, like,
Right.
hey, even if I'm not giving Conor any of the gate, I know that that's a $10 million gate. So if I got to pay Conor $15 million, knowing what he's going to make for me on the pay-per-view, I know that he had a $10 million gate at minimum. You know, and the merchandise sales are up when Conor fights. Like, everything is just bigger. I mean, I remember I go to fights and I look at the merchandise stands, and there's a few throughout the concourse. But when Conor fights, they're everywhere. They're
Sure.
outside the arena. They're inside the arena. Everything's just bigger. When he competes, and that whole aspect of that is gone when he fights in front of no fans. So I get why there's a little hesitancy there, but it's not worth risking losing him for the long term because you can't make him happy right now.
Yeah, and we're seeing this in boxing too. Like Terrence Crawford said, "Hey, I want to, I don't want to fight now. I want to wait on the sidelines until the fans come in, because in boxing the model is different, right?
Yeah, and they get paid on all that.
Yeah, they get paid on all that, but it's kind of the same thing because Conor plays by a different set of rules.
Yes,
My
he
main
does.
thing is, I wish he didn't use the R word, right? Because I think what he is saying is legitimate. Like, hey, I was out, I want to fight, and you have
Yes.
a hungry Conor wanting to fight. You got to
Motivated.
figure it out. You got
to make it happen.
Happen.
Again, it's not worth the penalty if he's gonna walk away. It's not worth it. You know, you got to make it work for him in that sense.
But
But
he told me back in January, I'll never retire. I think we'll see him again. I think what he's just trying to say was like, I'm frustrated, right?
Yeah, he's very frustrated, and that's his way. He's like, man, I can walk away from this thing, because if anybody can truly walk away, it is Conor McGregor. I mean, Cejudo, I believe, is so smart with his money that he can walk away. Jones has made a ton of money. So because he's made so much money, maybe he can walk away. Masvidal made big money against Diaz, but it's not like for years we've been talking about all the money that Jorge's made.
No.
I think he's the one that's actually in the toughest spot, because I don't think he has as much financial security as the rest of the guys. But he's saying he's trying to fight for that financial security by doing what he's doing.
So I want to ask you this question. Of the four, and the answer could be none, who has the most legitimate gripe in your opinion? You could say they're all out of their mind and they shouldn't be complaining. You could say all four. Who has the most legitimate gripe? And I've been thinking about this question. So if you want me to answer first while you think, that's okay. But I want to ask you, who do you think has the most legitimate gripe? Is it Cejudo, who says, and by the way, Cejudo said today, there's only one fight that I'll come back for. It's Volkanovski. So, I don't think a lot of people believe that Cejudo is done because he doesn't go away. The guy doesn't go away. Like, make us miss you, Henry, for God's sakes. Like, stop talking for a month or a week. Or is it Jones who's saying, pay me more to go to Ngannou? Is it Masvidal who's saying, you need to pay me what you paid me for Nate or more because I'm a bigger star now? Or is it Conor who's just like, hey, guys, look, give me a fight and I'll do whatever. But, obviously you're going to lose. You're going to lose on the gate or the no gate.
I think, honestly, I don't believe that anyone's I don't know what they're asking for. Do you understand? So I don't know how to base my answer. I don't know if Jones is wrong unless he's asking for something outlandish.
Mm.
Right? I truly believe that Jones and the UFC are going to make it work. I think that they're going to come to a number that works for him. Maybe he won't fight in Ghana and he'll continue to make the money that he's making. The only one that I don't. So Jorge Masvidal and Nate Diaz is going to sell, right? That's a guarantee. But is that a credit to Jorge or Nate Diaz, right? If Jorge said the other day that, why do you want to pay me less because I'm fighting a guy that can't sell? Well, you're the biggest star. You should be able to sell the pay-per-view. Do you understand? Like, it's like, did the pay-per-view sell based on Jorge or did it sell based on Nate Diaz? Does Henry Cejudo move the needle? How do you base what he's worth? And has he met or not gotten to that expectation? So I think the biggest gripe, honestly, is Conor, because he just wants to fight. Just get the guy a fight. You know, he's not talking about money. And I believe that the loss on the financial side is on the UFC. Like Dana always says, they take all the risk, right? This is a situation where I believe Conor just wants to fight, and you got to hope that his star will shine as bright as it normally does, and he'll sell enough pay-per-view to make up for anything you lose on the live portion of the fight.
I don't disagree. I think that's and in many respects that might be the easiest one to solve, right?
Easiest
Because
fix, yes.
he's not, again, he's like, he made a point to say like it's not about money, but it's about, I want to fight. And he also said like, I'm getting tired of this. It doesn't excite me, but I think he loves fighting and he'll always love fighting and he'll be a fighter forever. I mean, I wouldn't be surprised if he's fighting on the same card as his son, Connor Jr., who he'll probably try to groom to be a fighter as well, try to do like a LeBron James thing. But I think that Masvidal is the most dangerous for two reasons. Number one, in the past, this is not new, by the way. Like, we've seen people openly feud with the UFC. I remember when Randy Couture did it back in 2007 and tried to get Mark Cuban involved. He wanted to fight Fyodor Emelianenko, all that stuff. And then what happens every time? What happens is they cut a deal with that guy. He's happy, and then he stays quiet, right? No one actually, like, I think a lot of fans are asking, is this going to be the thing that galvanizes everyone to create a union and an association? But historically, what happens is you get yours and you stay quiet, right? Masvidal is the first one to now start saying like, hey, you've upset me. Now I'm taking a step back and I'm looking at everything. I'm looking at the whole business. And my understanding from talking to his team is he feels disrespected. Masvidal, remember, is a guy whose father, escaped communist Cuba, who knows what it feels like, to be oppressed, so to speak. And I think some of those feelings are coming out in him. And so he's not stopping, right? Like, he goes on these tweet rants where he's talking about everything. So he's the most dangerous. And I do understand where he's coming from when it comes to the idea, like, wait, I fought for essentially a fake belt and I'm getting more for that than for the real belt. Like, how does that make sense? Now, one is happening in the midst of a pandemic. One happened at MSG. There's the gate stuff that we just talked about. But I understand his gripe as well. And I think that the UFC needs to do a better job right now in explaining to the public these things and not just say like, hey, everyone's acting crazy. All my guys are acting crazy. Like, Danny keeps saying my guys are acting crazy because of the pandemic. With all due respect to you fighters, DC, I see you all training. You all seem very happy. You don't seem like you're acting crazy. I think people are just starting to, speak up, and we're using the pandemic as the excuse for their disillusionment, when one, I think, has nothing to do with the other. They need to explain it better or not, or just let the fighters continue to control the narrative.
I think it also, honestly, man, like it'll come to a point where, all these fighters, like the fighters you are entitled to, these guys are all entitled to how they're feeling right now. There is no reason that they should not voice their displeasure. But ultimately, as a guy, I'm just explaining this as a guy that's a friend to the fighter, that in all business, and this is all business, doing things publicly always makes it so much more tense. It's just so much more tense. It's easier to do these things directly. I know the public won't like hearing that because everybody likes the story. But the reality is it's so much easier to do things in a more direct approach, because here's the deal. You can have a million fans on all these fans on your side rooting you on, and all the reporters rooting you on saying this is the way to do it. But ultimately, if it doesn't cause for wholesale change, the only person that's going to lose out is the fighter. And that's just the truth. Because as you said, man, all these people have taken this approach. They've been paid, they've gotten quiet, and the UFC just continues to grow and grow and grow. And it's just a dangerous battle to go about publicly. And I just think that it always feels good when people are rooting you on and patting you on the back and saying good job. But ultimately, the people that suffer, if it doesn't work out in their favor, is the fighter. And those same people that are telling you to go and fight this organization that's allowed you to make all this money and become who you are, those people don't give you money and when things are starting to go sideways. You still got to look at yourself and go, how do I get back to where I want to be? And that's to go back to where you were. You're going to have to go back because, hey, man, if they start icing themselves out, you see it with big companies all the time, right? When these people go through these lawsuits, they just extend you and extend you and extend you. And then when you dry up, that company continues to roll. And it's like, man, I just think that direct is the best way for these guys to handle it, especially John Jones, because he's got all kinds of power, right? I mean, it's shown in all the indiscretions how he's been saved on so many occasions. He has a ton of power.
He has a ton of power until he loses, right?
Yeah, but he doesn't lose, Ariel. That's the thing.
I mean, but is it possible, by the way, is it possible that he's speaking out now because he saw what happened against Dominic Reyes and he's like, okay, now's the time to push my chips into the middle of the table? That's possible too.
Maybe.
It's not as
But do you understand what I'm saying, though?
Yes,
do you understand
I get
what
it.
I'm saying? Like, I'm just saying, like, as a guy that I'm just saying, guys, like, I get it. But like Connor's thing, easy to fix. So publicly, whatever. But all these like contractual issues, I think these guys should be doing that directly. And if they don't want to deal with Dana, talk to Hunter. Hunter's very like reasonable in a lot of situations. You know, Dana's like one of us. He gets, if he gets mad, he gets mad. But the other guy, Hunter's not like that.
Hunter Campbell, you're talking about,
yes.
who I described as sort of like the GM, the general counsel of the UFC, who does a lot of these deals. I mean, Dana said it on Saturday. I don't know why he never actually references Hunter. He always says like my guy or my lawyer, this and that. He's a very important player in the organization. He said, I'm not the one negotiating these deals. It's other people. And that's probably for the best because, as you said, he is so emotional.
Yeah, he gets mad.
He does say in the post-fight press conference, like, hey, these guys could do whatever they want. Like, if they don't want to fight, they don't want to fight. And I think some people look at that because I'm asked this, like, all right, so then why don't they just go fight somewhere else? Well,
they can't.
It's not that easy.
You're under contract. Yeah, it's not that easy. But you cannot fight. But then if you don't fight, then ultimately, who does it hurt?
Right.
You know what I'm saying? Like, that's all I'm saying.
And he also said these guys just signed new deals, and they did. And I wrote about this last week. But you know very well, if they give you a big deal to fight at MSG, like if you have a contract and you say, all right, I'll take this fight at MSG and I want more money, they'll say yes, but then they'll tack on more fights, right? That's why all these guys have new deals, because they just went through the song and dance of the negotiation. Like if Masvidal gets more money to fight Usman, he's getting more fights on that contract. That's just the game. That's the game. So they'll never be free agents. That's why I wrote it on ESPN last week. The system is broken because it's always like, I'm going to negotiate the next time. Who are you waving at, by the way? What's going on over there?
It's a fly or something.
Okay.
I'm just waving it.
I just think the whole system is broken, and I don't know how to fix it necessarily, but these guys are upset because of the number of fights, and these guys are saying, hey, you honored a deal, which they're very well within their rights to say that, and they can't meet in the middle, and now we're seeing it all kind of combust here.
Yeah, Ariel, but like again, like you said, we talked about this with Scottie Pippen, right? They could just say, no, this is what you're signed to. This is what you have to fight for, and you're going to either fight these fights or you're not going to fight, and you're still going to be under contract. But when guys are like, I want more money, they say, okay, we'll give you more money. But then, like you said, they tack on more fights, right? It's like, but you get the money. The company gets the fights. It's just the way business goes across the board. So when you go to ESPN, Ariel, and your contract is about to expire, and you say, I want more money, they're going to say, okay, we'll give you more money, but then you're going to get a new contract for this years, right? You'll have years to work to earn that money, right? And you may get more in terms of yearly in that time, But you're not going to get more money for a year. You're going to get more money for another 4 or 5 year contract. They're going to lock you down, and that's going to work. And in year 2, you're probably going to be like, you know what, man? If my star has gotten bigger, if I'm shining brighter than I ever have, you may say, I want more money again. But you think that when you go get more money, they're going to say, okay, I'm going to give you more money for the remainder of this contract, or they're going to extend that contract longer when you get more money. It's just the way it works. Like,
it's very complex. It's a very complex
so when
issue.
Steph Curry signs that super max, he doesn't sign that super max just to finish out the contract he's on.
Sure.
They add years. It's the way it works in all sports.
Yeah, but again, it's different because in our sport, it is in years, right? Like you sign a 7-fight deal, you don't fight, that gets paused, right? It's not like you can sit out and you get injured and the clock keeps running. So I understand the idea of comparing it to other sports, but it's just so different than other sports, right?
But then even Dana says you're healthy, I'm obligated to give you 3 fights a year. Yeah. So essentially, when you sign a 6-fight contract, you're signing a 2-year contract if you fight the way that you're supposed to fight. If you're healthy and you can go, you can get those 6 fights in 2 years. So essentially, you're getting 2-fight contracts, 2-year contracts. I'm sorry.
Okay, very cool. You think Conor fights this year?
I do. And I think they make it work with Conor for July. If Conor just wants to fight, I think they make it work for him. It would be very smart to make it work for him.
You think Masvidal fights Usman after all this a week later? Or do you think they go with Burns?
I think Burns is going to get the title fight. I don't know. Hats off to Jorge for standing up for what he believes in. And I think that he will do what he's saying and he'll wait. But I just believe that I don't believe, and God, I'm trying not to make it seem, I don't want to make it seem like I'm not agreeing with Jorge, but I don't believe. How many fights does Jorge have? 40 fights? He's 26.
Yeah, something like that. Yeah.
What's his record? What's Jorge's record?
I'll look it up for you while you speak.
Yeah. He isn't a guy that has held the belt for 10 years like Jones and made millions upon millions and upon millions of dollars. So I just don't know.
Maybe that's why he wants to cash in now, right? Because he's never been more 35-13. So what is that?
That's 48 fights. It's almost 50 fights in his career. He wants to make more money. But because he hasn't had that sustained success at the top of the sport, I don't know if the dollars will match and allow him to sit out as long as some of these other dudes do.
It's a fascinating thing. And, you wonder, July 11th is coming up. That's the next pay-per-view. There's no main event. And if you just look at every division, heavyweight, not available, light heavyweight, not available, middleweight, not available, skip over 170. We'll get to you in a second.
This is good. That's why 170, that's why Jorge is in a good position right now, because July 11th, they need that fight.
Something, but they might go with Burns, because as long as there are Gilbert Burnses out there,
that'll fight.
Be tough. It's going to be tough for Masvidal to really stick to his guns.
And Gilbert Burns is ready to go. Gilbert Burns will go right now
at a discount too, so that's why it hurts his cause.
Less money than Masvidal, and he's ready to go right now.
So if the Warriors are negotiating with with Curry, it's not like they'll go hey, we're going to sign Ray Allen at a cheaper rate, and then you can come and that hurts your spot. That's the fight game. It's unfortunate, but it's not. That's why it's not apples to apples. Anyway,
and Ariel, you've seen it in boxing too, right? In boxing too, it's the same thing. When guys were trying to fight Mike Tyson, when they priced themselves out, they tried to make the Wilder versus Joshua fight so many times, right? And when it didn't happen, Anthony Joshua said, "I'll fight somebody else." Here comes Andy Ruiz, right? It's there's always another guy that's willing to do it, and that's what makes it hard to take the approach that some of these guys are taking.
Time now to tell you about our good friends over at Modelo. Modelo Especial. That's right. 2 ad reads today because we are just killing it here at ESPN. Modelo is the official beer of UFC and partners with the reigning defending double champ herself, Amanda Nunes, who we just spoke about. But I'll tell you what, her opponent on Saturday, Felicia Spencer, she has the fighting spirit too. She refused to give up, even when the odds were stacked against her. It doesn't matter where you come from. It doesn't matter if you're from Canada, Brazil, America, Lafayette, Louisiana. It doesn't matter where you come from. It matters what you're made of, just like all great beers. Modelo has been the gold standard since 1925. Modelo is a crisp Pilsner-style lager that set the standard for authentic Mexican beer. Modelo uses premium hops to give the golden lager its crisp taste. So, when you're watching the UFC this Saturday, or the Saturday after that, or the Saturday after that, make sure you have a crisp Modelo Especial within reach. Modelo Especial. brewed for those with a fighting spirit. Drink responsibly. Beer imported by Crown Imports, Chicago, Illinois. Now, DC, did we bury the lead? What's going on? Yesterday night, we had a tweet from Stipe.
Did you just say yesterday night?
Yeah, is that bad?
That's awful.
What
It's last night, dude.
Whatever. It was
yesterday night.
Yesterday night.
What?
It was at night.
What?
Yesterday at night. Okay. Listen, I'm under a lot of pressure here. I've got everyone yelling at me, hurry up, read this, do that, do that. Yesterday night, yesterday at night. It wasn't yesterday night one word. It was yesterday, comma night. It was yesterday at night. You know what I mean? Last night, Stipe, your boy, Miocic, says, I'm ready to go, essentially, in all intents and purposes. And then you respond, let's go. What is happening here? What happened?
We're starting to talk. We're starting to get close. I can't share right now.
Why? Start your show.
It's starting to look like Stipe is like, man, let's do this. You know, it's starting to look like Stipe is like, let's do this. You know, I want to put this rivalry to bed. I want to get done. I want to get this trilogy done so that he can either, you know, go forward or retire. You know, he
has ignited talks.
He just said yes. He is more inclined to get this thing done. Him and I.
Is he able to train?
Ohio's open now, I think. Yeah, gyms and everything are open. So yeah, dude can train. There's no more excuses.
August?
I don't know. I don't know yet. I'm hoping for August. August 1st is coming up very quick. Remember before I kept targeting that date? That's coming up very, very quick. So I don't know if that's going to be the day, but hopefully August.
Wow. What are you yawning? I mean, what's happening?
I woke up at 5:00 in the morning.
Yeah, why?
Man, I just wake up early. I just like every time I roll, I startle myself awake I snore myself awake almost every morning.
You snore yourself awake?
Yeah, I'm like snoring. I scare myself when I snore so loud, you know.
And then that's it?
Yeah, then I'm up. Then I look around and I'm scared, like I'm panicking and I just don't know what's happening. And then I just wake up. It's bad.
I hope that when they do like the Barker videos for this fight, you know, like they'll usually take clips from other interviews and stuff like that. I hope they talk about when the fight really got going, they use the clip of you yawning as you were trying to get people excited for this.
No, I wasn't
looking like August.
No, I wasn't.
This Saturday.
No, like me, like yawning, like, oh, I gotta fight this dude again. I'm gonna beat him up again, like that. Yeah, like that.
This is it, DC. This is the beginning of your final training camp ever.
Yes, can you believe that?
By the way, I don't believe it for a second.
It would be awesome. It'd be awesome. Like,
you know what's going to happen? Jones is going to beat Francis. You're going to beat Stipe. You guys are going to do the trilogy at heavyweight.
I would not be goaded into fighting again after this. I'm going to ride into the sunset. I'm going to ride. I'm going to ride that. I'm going to ride my old buggy like the Beverly Hillbillies into the sunset, popping and just going crazy down the road. I'm going to be ready to go. I love it, though, man. I love the game, but I'm really loving the commentary. I'm really loving what life looks like after fighting, but I have unfinished business before I can do that.
Okay, so you're confident this is going to happen now. Yeah, you don't feel like you need to like tell him, let's go, champ. It sounds like the engine is revving on the other side.
It's starting like, it sounds like Stipe wants to make me shut up. Mondays have got to be like the worst day of the week for him because he knows that I'm saying something. So now he's probably like, okay, I finally get to go shut this dude up once and for all.
Fight Island or Apex, you think?
I mean, I'd like to fight on Fight Island, but I don't know if that'll happen.
You want to go all the way there? There's reports, Abu Dhabi, nothing confirmed, but you could just drive to Vegas 4 hours.
No, it isn't. Vegas is 7 hours. I drove it yesterday.
All right, but same thing.
Anywhere, I just want to fight. It really doesn't matter to me.
Small cage?
If it's in Vegas, yeah, it's gonna have to be the small cage. I imagine Fight Island is gonna be the big cage, though.
Yeah,
but small cage, I don't mind it. You know, I fought Josh Barnett in a 26.
On this.
Situation. I fought Josh Barnett in a 26-foot cage, so I'm used to the small cage already. But I'm hoping that it gets done soon. You know, like very soon.
Well, the thing I want to know is like, who do I apply for the corner license? Like, do I apply to Nevada? Do I apply to the Fight Island?
It'll be Nevada.
Nevada.
It'll be Nevada. Well, you know, we could try, but there's a good possibility that You're not going to corner me?
Oh.
Especially if Mark Henry is now in the game and all these
man.
other guys, like my normal guys, Mark Henry, like you're way on the bottom. Like Javier Mendez is going to be there. Bob Cook is going to be there. Rosendo Sanchez is going to be there. Leandro Vera is going to be there. Generally, there's only 4 corners. Right. So, Ariel, you tell me right now who's out. Who's out? Who's out of my corner so you can fit in?
I could be the Bobby the Brain, like the manager who just kind of roams around the cage shouting instructions. Maybe I try to trip Stipe
when we get to the edge,
throw
like
salt in his eyes, like Mr. Fuji. You know what I mean? Just something like that. I don't know.
I mean, last August, I could have used you blowing something into his eyes. I could have used the help back then, but I won't need the help this time. I'm going to prepare myself as good as I can to beat this dude again.
By the way, we didn't talk about the biggest feud that brewed last week. Like one of the biggest fights that can be put on this summer. Dana White, Dan Le Batard.
Oh, goodness. I can't wait for that one. I'm cornering Dana. I'm cornering Dana. I want to corner Dana if he fights Dan Le Batard.
You are going to corner Dana White.
I'm going to corner my boy Dana White.
Jorge Masvidal said that he's going to train Le Batard for this fight. Yeah.
Oh, man, it'd be good. I don't have to train Dana. We'll get – hey, listen. Team White, Team UFC, we're going to hire the best nutritionists. We're going to hire the greatest trainers. We're going to hire the best boxing coaches. We're going to do this thing in the most scientific way that it's ever been done. So Big Dan Le Batard better get ready, man. And I like Dan. Dan's a good, fun guy. But, boy, you take on Team White in the UFC. We're going to wait. The way you're looking, it seems like you maybe – Team Le Batard.
Hey, I'm team ESPN. I'm team ESPN,
this
baby.
Is team ESPN versus Team UFC.
That's right.
Oh, hey, let me tell you something.
Seems like you're in the middle.
Hey, I am, but we got the resources. We got the PI.
We got the resources. We got Bristol, Connecticut.
We have got the structure in place to train him to go and put a whipping on Dan Le Batard. $250,000 to charity. This has to happen now, right, Eric?
He said that he said he wasn't going to get bullied like Dana likes to, underpay.
What's that even mean?
It was a
Come
funny
on, Dan.
reply.
Dan, it's time to go.
Okay, Dan, but here's the thing.
It's time to go. What do you mean not getting bullied?
Well, he feels like he doesn't get to call the shots. He's the one that made the initial offer. He doesn't get to set the terms.
Tell Dan to put down the terms. Tell Dan come back to the table with his terms for Dana to agree to. It's time to play the game now, right? It's time to play the game now. Dan, you want the fight? Let's go. It's gonna be good.
As I look at you, I feel like I'm looking at a 1998 version of The Rock when he went from the people's champ to the corporate champ. Like in front of our eyes right now, you are morphing into the corporate champion.
I will wear one of those silk shirts.
Yeah.
Those silk shirts like The Rock. Boo, rah. But then guess what? The people eventually fell in love with the corporate champion.
They did, but I just feel like this is happening, right? Like this is when I'm Farouk, right? And this is when
I'm in the back with the Intercontinental Championship, just trying to take over the Nation of Domination.
I thought you would say, what I really thought you would say was, Dana's a former amateur boxer, right? Former boxing coach. He doesn't need my help. I'm going to help out the little guy. I've been on the Le Batard show. I'm an ESPN guy. We got this.
I do like the Le Batard show. I want to go back on the Le Batard show. I may not go back anymore after I corner Dana, but I want the fight. I'm ready for the fight. Come on, you want the fight too. You want to see Dana actually fight. Be honest.
I don't know about against Dan Le Batard. Pete Ortiz back in the day, that was cool. But against Dan Le Batard, I don't know if I'm feeling that one. Maybe Stugatz. He's a little taller, a little bigger, but Dan Le Batard just seems like, I don't know. It seems like an unfair fight. Verbally, I would love to see them debate each other. That would be fun. But in terms of fighting, I'm not sure about that. A couple more things before we go. And I'm glad that you have now told the world that you are going to corner Dana in this fight. Corporate champion DC. Nice to have you. Alexander Gustafsson moving to heavyweight. What do you make of this against Fabricio Verdum? You like this for him?
Yeah, it's a good fight for him. It's a good move. He was always a big guy. Maybe he will be better up a weight class, not depleting himself down to 205 pounds. And hopefully he can maintain that footwork, that movement, that ability to compete in the way that he did for so long. So yeah, very excited about that fight. And he gets to fight a former champion, Fabricio. His first time out.
Another retirement, not another guy not keeping his word, right? Another quick retirement.
I think a lot of guys, but he's young, and I think maybe that retirement was emotional. He had got beat by Jones, got finished by Anthony Smith. Just, I just think that was a bit emotional, and it's good to see him back.
Yeah, I'm curious about that's like a really out of the blue booking. I did not expect that one at all.
Different.
Good style matchup. I'm really curious to see what they say about Fight Island, because now we're starting to see a lot of fights being booked for Fight Island, but we still don't know where it is.
Still don't know where it is.
Yeah. Like, is it on the west coast of the United States? Is it at Tachi Palace?
You remember before when you thought there was no Fight Island? You were certain there was no Fight Island, but now
no, that's not what I said.
happening.
You're lying. No, what I said was, I said until the fighters and managers are actually offered fights on Fight Island, to me, it's not a thing.
And then
now they got offered the fights.
It's a real thing.
Now it's a real thing.
Fight Island.
Reserve judgment.
Championship fight on Fight Island. Jan and Aldo, right?
Supposedly.
I can't wait. That's a big one.
The second place bantamweight title fight, because we all know that the
fight, boy.
The bantamweight champion resides on Long Island.
Imagine if the King of Rio gets the job done. Whew, boy. 2-division champ. History in the making. That's going to be, boy. And I'm not sure I don't favor Aldo in that fight.
Oh, get out of here.
Okay.
By the way, are you still a New Orleans Saints fan? Where does that stand?
Yes, I am.
I like that. That was the sound of
yes, I am. I'm sorry.
Amends.
So when I first heard that, I said something like, I hope the Saints lose every single game. And then the next day I was like, his first apology, I was like, maybe not every game. But it just seemed like everything that happened was, Drew Brees made a bad statement. But then when I look at the history of Drew Brees and all that he's done in New Orleans, all that he's done for the Black community, and then I look at his statements and what he's trying to do in order to fix, the mistake that he made, I think it's been great. And then the president almost teased him up. I'm in a group message, and my friends were like, the president just said that Drew Brees shouldn't have. I go, Drew Brees is going to denounce the president and go right against him, and then he's going to be back. And then not even an hour later, Brees had put out a statement saying, everything opposite of what the president had said right before. And I think that because of that, he didn't show empathy for where we are today in the country. And the flag means different things to different people, but right now you should not have made that comment. And I think that everything he's shown since shows that he's going to try to be a leader in trying to and use his platform to try and help in that way.
All right. I just wanted to know if you wanted to join the Bills bandwagon.
I'll never join. Let me tell you something, man.
You seemed very upset last week, and rightfully so.
And rightfully so. And since the great Oklahoma State running back left the Bills, Thurman Thomas. I haven't been a Bills. I have not liked the Bills. I'm sorry, bro. It's not the way it works.
They welcomed you with open arms. UFC 210.
They treated me great. They treated me great. And but when it comes to allegiance,
where's that towel at?
Football,
they should put that in the Hall of Fame. That towel right there in Buffalo.
What towel?
That was the towel in Buffalo. One of the all-time great moments of my broadcasting career. Me doing the play-by-play for that moment.
He made it. He made the weight. Oh my goodness, he made the weight. He made the weight. Sometimes you just gotta think light. Right. If you just think light, right when you get on that scale, I went to the back and I was sad and I was dejected. And my nutritionist walked up to me, Dan Leaf. He goes, DC, go back out there, take a deep breath, think light. I'm serious. No, Ariel. He said, DC, walk back out there with your head held high, champ, and think light. You're an air balloon. He said, you're a balloon. You're a balloon. Think light and you get floated away. And so I went back on that scale and I thought light, man. And I was 1.2 pounds lighter and I made the weight.
Now it all makes sense.
It all makes weight. Sometimes you got to just think light. So guys, when you're about to miss weight, just close your eyes. take a breath and think light, and then you'll make the weight. It's the way it works. It was proven.
Yes. No, I know it was proven. I saw it with my own two eyes. One of the great moments of my life. Shout out to Devin Clark's dad, who was one of the stars of Saturday night. He was incredible. Shout out to Chase Hooper, who knew that he had that kind of game online, clapping back at Ben Askren, who was taking shots at him afterwards, even though he lost that fight against Alex Caceres. And most important, shout out to Cody Stamann for fighting the way he did after suffering the tragedy that he did just a couple weeks prior. I can't imagine what was going through his mind. You saw the emotion afterwards, and I thought you guys handled it very well, especially Joe in the post-fight interviews. So all in all, 250, a great night. And now we look ahead to Saturday. We got another card on Saturday night. It's Cynthia Calvillo against Jessica. You're not going to be at that one, right?
No. I'm back at home.
Are you done with the broadcasting till the fight?
Well, I don't have anything scheduled anymore for right now. So I don't have anything scheduled right now because remember, I was trying to fight August 1st. Okay. So I told him to kind of leave my schedule open. Hey, give Devin Clark a shout out too, because in the octagon during his introduction, took a knee, raised the fist to show for everything that's happening in the world today, and just really taking his time or his moment to shine a light on everything that's going on. So big on Devin Clark, and then fighting the best fight of his career. His dad told him, "You're in a fight, Devin." And Devin fought a fight. He didn't try to just wrestle the whole time. He went out there and he fought the best fight that he's ever fought in the octagon. Yeah,
Aljo did the same. Shout out to everyone who's been speaking up, everyone who's been voicing, their concerns about the system and police brutality and racism in our country. It's great to see people coming together of different colors, different creed, different genders. Everyone seems to be coming together now. So it's a crazy time in our lives, and it's a lot of fun every Monday doing this show with you, DC, and I hope we can continue. I'll look forward to your next excuse next week. And
I'll never make an excuse. I'm never going to leave this show. This is my favorite show. I'll never leave.
Yes.
There's nothing they can do to make me ever leave this show. I love it.
All right. On that note, DC, you're the man. Modelo, we love you. Ancestry DNA, we love you. Corporate Jake, we sometimes love you. TST, we hardly ever love you. We love everyone out there who continues to listen, rate, review, subscribe, all that stuff and more. We're done. We're out of time. Peace. We're out of here.
Thanks for watching ESPN on YouTube. For live streaming sports and premium content, subscribe to ESPN+.